is Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestants. Player one. Player two. Player three. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Let's take you right now into the Jeopardy round. Clues are worth $200 to $1,000 in these categories. This and that. The 20th century. The animal kingdom. Sherlock Holmes. Literary pets. And Brit Speak. Player one, you start. In September of 1916, during World War I's Battle of the Somme, the British rolled out this new weapon. Player one? That is correct. Player one, you pick again, please. Officially adopted in 1919, the Polish flag is made up of red and this color, just like Switzerland's. Okay, player one. That's correct. Player one, you pick again. New York City Mayor John V. Lindsay quipped that it enables young ladies to run faster, and because of it, they may have to. Player three? Nope. Any other takers? Let's hear it, player one. That's correct. Select again. It's the Daily Double. You are in the lead right now. So, what's your wager? Okay, here is the clue. Shooting this while surfing is riding with part of the wave overhead surrounding you. That puts you even further ahead. Player one, back to you for our next selection. And I'll hand it off to Kelly.
In suburban planning, green space created by curved streets and houses with varying setbacks is called this, also a small sheltered bay.
Let's hear it, player three. You are correct. Hey, you're on the plus side. Player three, you start. These animals of the order Chiroptera are the only mammals that can truly fly. Yes, player one? That's it. Player one, you start us off. This feisty tie fish blows sticky bubbles to make a nest, then puts the eggs in its mouth and blows them in the nest. Okay, player two. No. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's the correct response. Fighting fish. Player one, back to you for our next selection. Muskrats and woodrats belong to this order of mammals. Okay, player one. Yep. You again, player one. Here's Kelly.
If you see one of these under the sea, look but don't touch. The spines can be poisonous.
Let's hear it, player one. Yep. Player one, choose again. Fruit and lizards, yum, are favorite foods of the coati, also known by this longer name. It's player one. That's it. Player one, back to you. The titled beast of his The Hound of the Baskervilles is actually the pet of Mr. Jack Stapleton. Player two. Ooh, sorry. That's incorrect. Anyone else? Here's the correct response. Arthur Conan Doyle. Player one, choose again. Harry Potter uses his snowy owl named this to transfer messages. Player one? That's it. Select again. This brand name has become a noun and a verb for vacuum. Let's hear it, player one. Good. Player one, pick again. While Americans put gas in their cars, the British put in this six-letter equivalent. Okay, player one. Yes. Player one, choose again. This term for an electrical outlet sounds like a presentations program from Microsoft. Okay, player one. Hey, you're right. Player one, you pick again, please. As they have a tendency to burst open in the frying pan, sausages are popularly called these. Yes, player one? Yeah! Good. Player one, pick again. Fancy a cuppa, love? Cuppa is a cup of this. It's player one. Yeah, good. Please pick again, player one. His second spin as Sherlock Holmes was subtitled, A Game of Shadows. Player three? Yeah! You are correct. Okay, let's get back into this. Player three, you make the next selection as he first played Sherlock Holmes on film in 1939. It's player three. No. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? We're talking about Basil Rathbone. We return to you, player three. This star of Lawrence of Arabia voiced Sherlock Holmes for a series of cartoons in the 1980s. The correct response is Peter O'Toole. Select again. This one-time Willy Wonka took on the title role in 1975's The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother. Yes, player 2. Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Here's the response we were looking for. Gene Wilder. Player 3, back to you for our next selection. Before Rain Man, he directed Young Sherlock Holmes, in which Holmes and Watson meet as boys at boarding school. It's player 3. That's it. Player 3, choose again. In the 1920s, this fascist leader of Italy set up a puppet regime in Albania and reconquered Libya. Player 1? Yep. Player 1, you start us off. Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings' The Yearling centers on this type of pet. Here's the correct response. A deer. Please pick again, player 1. Little Swan, Little Bear, and Greenfinch are some of the goats of this Johanna Spiri lass. It's player 2. You got it. Player 2, start us. A poetic Eliot feline who has lived many lives in succession is named for this 5th book of the Old Testament. Okay, player 1. You are correct. Where do we begin, player 1? On Valentine's Day, 1989, the Ayatollah Khomeini showed no love for this author's satanic verses, giving him a death sentence. We're talking about Salman Rushdie. Player 1, you pick again, please. On February 15, 1965, Canada's new flag, which featured an 11-pointed one of these, flew for the first time. Let's hear it, player 1. Yes. Select again. On February 8, 1904, Japanese ships attacked this country's fleet at Lushun, Manchuria, beginning a war. Okay, player 2. Correct. You're out of the hole. And we'll wrap up the board with this clue. Elizabeth II succeeded her father, this man, who died unexpectedly at age 56. Okay, player 1. That's right. Way to go. Player 2, you're going first in the Double Jeopardy round when we return. And we have 2 daily doubles awaiting you in these categories. Attraction, royalty on film, Through Europe on E90, Beastly Expressions, the 1920s, and Right On, Soldier. Player 2, start us. Helen Mirren as this queen in the Queen. Okay, player one. Right. Player one, you start us off. Kate Blanchett in 1998 as this title queen. It's player one. Good for you. Kirsten Dunst in 2006 as this title queen. It's player one. Yes. You again, player one. Robert Shaw was him in A Man for All Seasons. We're talking about Henry VIII. Player one. Pick again. Using adsorption, yes, with a D, activated charcoal in these military items attracts harmful chemical vapors. Player one. Good. We return to you, player one. Female deep-sea anglerfish use this, produced by bacteria, to attract prey. Yes, player one. Correct. Player one, back to you. Answer, one of the daily doubles. And you have the lead. Please enter your wager. All right, here's your clue. In a covalent bond, two atoms each contribute one of these to a pair, which is then attracted to the atom's nuclei. That puts you even further ahead. You again, player one. Bombicol, one of these attractant hormones, is sort of the Calvin Klein obsession of the female silk moth. Yes, player one? That's it. Select again. Newton found that the degree of gravitational attraction between two masses varies inversely with the square of this, r. Let's hear it, player one. Yes. You get to pick again, player one. Katharine Hepburn was her in The Lion in Winter. Player two. Hey, you're right. Player two, you start us off. A student at Sandhurst, he later served in British military intelligence before creating his British super spy. Here's what we wanted. Ian Fleming. We return to you, player two. This author of Starship Troopers was a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. Here's the correct response. Robert Heinlein. We return to you, player two. Lew Wallace served as a major general in this war before penning Ben-Hur. Here's the correct response. The Civil War. Player 2, choose again. We'll start our trip east on Route E90 in this chief seaport of Portugal. Here's what we wanted. Lisbon. We return to you, Player 2. Let's head to this Spanish coastal city to shop along its Rambla de Catalunya. Yes, Player 2. That's correct. You get to pick again, Player 2. My cat wants me to look up its relatives in this capital of Turkey. Okay, Player 2. Right. We return to you, Player 2. We'll stop in Thessaloniki, the capital of this Greek region that produced Philip and Alexander. Player 1. Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else? It's Player 2. No. Anyone else? Let's hear it, Player 3. Yep. Where do we begin, Player 3? E90 goes through Brindisi. This famous ancient Roman road, also known as a way, ended there. Okay, Player 2. Sorry, that's wrong. Any other takers? Here's the response we were looking for. The Via Appia. Player 3, choose again. Edward Gibbon was a captain in the Hampshire Grenadiers before writing The Decline and Fall of this empire. Here's what we wanted. The Roman. We return to you, Player 3. This Grecian fought at Salamis and Marathon. His 70 plays include The Oresteia and Prometheus Bound. Here's the correct response. Aeschylus. Please pick again, Player 3. Curiosity killed this animal. It's Player 1. That's correct. A lot of clues, a lot of categories. On Cheers, Norm said it was this kind of world, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear. Yes, Player 1? Hey, you're right. Select again. To look guilty but smug is to look like the cat that ate this bird. Let's hear it, Player 1. Yes. You again, Player 1. To cry these is to show insincere sorrow. Let's hear it, Player 1. That's right. Way to go. Player 1, back to you. This porcine phrase refers to something of undetermined value as a purchase. It's Player 1. Good. Player 1, choose again. This evangelist made plenty of headlines in the 1920s, like in 1926 when she claimed to have been kidnapped. The correct response is Amy Semple McPherson. Player 1, choose again. Answer, the second daily double. And you're in the lead now. Player 1, please select your wager. The clue, fresh out of Columbia University in 1923, he debuted at the age of 20 with the New York Yankees. However, you keep your lead. Here's what we were looking for. Lou Gehrig. Player 1, choose again. Competition from the new Chevrolet spurred Henry Ford to introduce this new model in 1927. The correct response is the Model A. Player 1, choose again. Chicago gangster Dion O'Banion, who started the practice of lavish arrangements at mob funerals, had this civilian trade. Here's what we wanted. Florist. And we'll wrap up the board with this clue. On January 7, 1927, transatlantic phone service began as the president of AT&T called this world capital. Player 3? Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Let's hear it, Player 2. Yeah, good. Looks like you'll all be moving on to Final Jeopardy after this break. Now, Final Jeopardy coming right up right now with this category. The social sciences. You need to select your wager. Our Final Jeopardy clue today is, coined in 1899, this word suggests that things like rivers and boundaries affect nations' foreign affairs. Did you come up with the correct response? And that will cost you. Did you come up with the correct response? Sorry, that incorrect response will drop your score by... What did you say? With that correct response, you will gain... This makes you our new champion, Player 1, so congratulations. Good game, everyone, and thank you so much for playing.